I muted.
Oh.
Yeah, we're
Good.
getting some feedback, so sometimes I try to find it, and you can always unmute yourself if I mute you. Just give me 1 second, Steve. I'm making sure we go live to YouTube.
It says you're streaming live already.
We're not yet. I just want
Oh.
to make sure, and then we'll be good. Jeff, what could that be? Am I the only one hearing?
No,
I can hear it.
You want to mute us all and unmute us one at a time?
No, you can see when the wind, you know.
when
you
it
can-
highlights.
Yeah.
Me?
No, it seems
Oh.
to be Jeff.
What are you hearing?
Ooh, a lot of feedback.
Yeah. Well, let me turn it down. Any difference? Is that any better?
Yeah, you can hear you fine. You just hear a little less feedback because it's muted, I think. So yeah, that's better.
How's that?
Loud.
It's
Well,
weird.
let me go in and out.
It sounds like interference in a frequency.
I'm the only one around here.
You seem to be quick on
How's that? Any difference?
Yeah, I don't hear it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
It's gone.
I tell you what, if it happens, I'll just mute you, and then you're good with your mouse, so you know how to yourself. Yeah. All right, Steve. Whenever you're ready. Are we at 7? Yeah, we're at 7.
We're good. Good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Molinelli, Chairman of the Inland Wetlands Commission. We're on Zoom for the February 17th regularly scheduled meeting. I'd like to take attendance, please. Russ Davenport, Vice Chair.
Here, present.
Jackie Mulvey, Secretary.
Present.
Christine Hunter.
Present.
Andrea Kowicki.
Present.
Jeff Lippincott.
Here.
Mary Ann Marino.
Present.
Kurt Timoney.
Here.
Okay, just for the record, we're still short one member. So if anybody has any insight as to someone who might be interested, simply ask them to forward their name with a brief letter to the new town manager, I guess, and start the ball rolling. I'd like to call for the approval of minutes.
I make a
I'll
motion
second
that we approve the minutes from January 20th.
Thank you, Christine. Second.
I'll second that.
All right, Andrea. Any changes?
I didn't see any.
Okay, as written. All those in favor?
Aye.
Jackie?
I abstain.
Okay. Next on our agenda is agenda review.
There's a whole host of applications that will need to be continued, but we'll go as we go through them. I'll tell you what's up.
Okay. Jackie, did you have your hand up?
No.
Okay. Last month I indicated that I think I put out the suggestion that we should reach out by some kind of a liaison relationship with the Highland Lake Watershed Association and with Public Works. And I'd like to keep that on the agenda and sort of hold that, for a time where we have time for a meaningful discussion about the validity of it and if anybody would be interested. So please keep that in mind. First item on the agenda is item number 5, public hearings, Inland Wetlands Commission, application 20-58, Sean Stanzali. Our information is that it's to be continued to March 17th. Is that accurate, Pam?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Do we need a motion on that or just simply acknowledge it?
Just acknowledge it. And
Okay. The second application is 20-62. The applicant is Sherwood Dawson, to construct a single-family residence. And that also was to continue to March 17th. So we'll simply acknowledge that. We're into old business now. Thomas Troy, application 20-46, 424 West Wakefield Boulevard. The applicant would like to repair 130 feet of lake wall, replace dock concrete pad, register a 3x12 dock to a 10x10 platform, 2 buoys and a float.
He left me a voicemail that he is, he's gonna have to withdraw the application. But because I didn't get it in writing, you probably should deny without prejudice.
Can we simply,
If he withdraws it, all it does is, like, he has to file a new application and submit a new fee, it's as if you never got it, so.
by denying it, the same effect would occur though, wouldn't it?
Pretty much, yeah, yes, especially, yeah.
All right, based on the recommendation of Pam, who received the voicemail from the applicant, Thomas Troy, I'd like to make a motion that we deny application 20-46, owner Thomas Troy, 424 West Wakefield Boulevard, for the proposal as listed in the agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Chris Hunter? Any comments, any concerns?
Mm-mm.
All those in favor of denying the application because of the statement by Pam that the applicant is withdrawing?
Got it,
It
thank you.
looks unanimous.
Yeah.
All right, the next is inland wetlands application 20-52. And it's also the result of a public hearing that's was continued earlier to March 17th. So I assume that the applicant is going to move ahead and will move this part of his application to the March 17th meeting.
Mhm.
Do I have a second? Do we need a second on that, Pam? Because it's, no?
No,
Okay,
nope,
so
you scheduled.
noted. 20-62, applicant is Sherwood Dawson, and he also requests that we continue to March 17th. So it's duly noted here. The next application is application 20-73. The owner is Patrick Hussey at 752 Lake Drive. The proposal is to dock, repair steel, and replace wooden decking. Is it Mr. Hussey or a representative present?
Yes,
Would you identify yourself, please?
Patrick Hussey, 752 Lake Drive.
Okay. Can you tell us something about what you'd like to do and why we should approve it?
We sent in a new set of scheduled drawings for, proposed drawings for the new application.
Now,
Thank you.
Mr. Hussey, I can make you co-host and you can review the documents, or would you like me to pull them up?
Whatever you want to do, Pam.
Okay, it's up to you. I can pull them up, or if you want me to, if you
You can
want
put
to.
them up. Okay.
Okay, so just guide me with which one you'd like to see first.
Okay, that one's good.
Okay, maybe if you want to just, describe to the commission what they're seeing here.
Yeah, that's the new proposed dock, and the oval is where we have to remove some of the existing decking to get the new dock anchored to the stone wall and the concrete pad that's existing. that's showing the existing stone wall with the new beams going beneath the dock and anchored into the wall with existing concrete slab.
You're proposing, excuse me, to cantilever the dock?
No. There's one more coming. What's going on?
Are you guys seeing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see where it's existed, where it's been pinned into the stone wall. And you can see the pillar out about 15, 16 feet where the dock will be anchored to that with anchor bolts.
Do you have a deck along your wall?
Yeah, there's that's that jagged line along there. That's the end of the deck. The deck overhangs the wall 3 or 4 feet.
When did that get constructed?
That was there when I bought the house
What year?
in 2002.
Go ahead, Pam. Mr. Hussey, if I recall from last month's meeting, one of the questions we had and the concerns we had was the, how you propose to fasten the dock, the extension to the concrete wall or the area of land that you're going to tie it into. Could you explain that to us?
It's tied into the existing pillar that's there already. And it'll be anchored down with 8 anchor bolts.
How much of it will overlap the land or none of it will overlap the land?
What do you mean by overlap the land?
Is it going to be attached to the fascia of the wall facing the water?
Yes, it is. It goes in a couple of feet there. It's going to be attached in there with anchors as well.
And at the last meeting, Mr. Davenport had requested some, a better explanation and more detailed explanation as to how you're going to propose or go about this. And my sense is you're basically telling us the same thing we heard the last time without any, additional insight into the project.
What's your question?
Detail?
With the details all in the drawings we just submitted.
Do you have how are you proposing the progression of this work is going to be done on top of the ice right now? Is that what you're looking to do? I mean,
Yes.
we had discussed that a little bit before.
Yes.
So you won't need to dig down into place any anchors or rebuild anything of the existing deck, correct?
No, absolutely nothing.
Am I back on?
Yeah.
Am I causing feedback?
No?
Okay, I stopped up there yesterday and met with Mr. Hussey, and it's really a pretty simple project. He's removing,
You didn't have any conversations with him, did you, Jeff?
he showed me what he's gonna do. And
Go ahead.
that's about it. So it seems pretty simple. He's gonna remove the decking on the steel beams, take the steel beams out and put 2 new ones in. He's got to remove, which is just screwed down, a portion of the deck that goes over the concrete pad. But that can get screwed right back on. It's ASIC material with, that's screwed down. So all he's doing is taking it up and putting back new material.
And the beams, as I understand it, they're anchored in two places. They're anchored at the on the land side on a concrete slab, and then they're anchored also on a pier in the lake bed, correct?
And it appears that that's where they are now. The ones that he wants to remove and replace are in the same place.
Yeah. So it's basically just taking the decking off, replacing the I-beams, and putting the decking back on.
Correct.
I think when I looked at it, one of my concerns was that the scope, that I was concerned the scope of work would get larger if the deck needed to be supported in some other way, but apparently we're not moving into any of that work. It's just this single dock replacement. This almost has to be done on top of the ice the way you have it, correct? Because otherwise, Patrick, you'd be standing in 4 or 5, 3
6
feet of water, correct?
Water, yes. Correct.
Yeah, he'd need a crane.
You couldn't get a crane down there.
Right.
Right, but you couldn't stand in the water and do this one.
No, not, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So it's to your advantage because there is ice on the lake. You can basically slide the I-beam out and then just lift it onto the support out into the lake bed and, tie it in on both ends. And basically that's really where you're at.
That's where I'm at, yes.
Question, on your drawings, unless I missed it, I didn't see, and it looks like from the picture, it's a moot question, but is the dock within the littoral boundary or outside the littoral boundary where we're not concerned about it?
Oh, it's way inside. It's only a max of 30 feet.
No, not the length of the dock going out. From your property line on the right side looking at the water and the left side looking at the water, your dock has to be 10 feet from either side to be approved.
I've 100 feet there, so I'm in the
Okay.
right middle.
So you're right in the middle.
Yes.
Okay, so just note that when we move to approve, if we do, that one of the conditions that we would want to see is that you identify the placement of that dock. I know it's exactly where it is, but just on a drawing in our records so that we know that it's where it's supposed to be.
I can have that amended ASAP.
Yeah, that's not an issue.
Okay, no problem.
Anybody with any other concerns? Jeff?
No, he's just taking up the old beams he said he was there 18 years and the wood is rotted and the beams, I'm assuming, are rotted underneath.
Yeah, they're on their way out.
The decking that is not on the dock, the decking that's on top of the concrete is relatively or newer than the decking that's on the dock. I think the decking on the dock, Mr. Husty, if I'm correct, is pressure treated or just 2x6s.
It's pressure treated 2x10.
Okay, and the decking that's on where the dock is attached is some kind of ASIC or
yes, I think
composite material.
It's some kind of a composite, yes.
So there must have been several years difference between when they did the people before you, I'm assuming, did the composite.
Did you do you didn't replace the decking, did you?
No.
Because how many decking boards do you estimate you'll have to replace as part of this?
Oh, I won't have to, on the dock itself?
No, on
the
there's
deck part.
There's no replacements. We put the existing back.
How many would you, so there's no structural work at all?
No. It looks complicated, but it's pretty simple. It's a quick in and out really, but I'd say about 24 boards that have to come up, give or take.
Anybody with any other concerns? Russ, you comfortable?
Yeah, no, I am. I remember the site and, now I look at this picture more, I can see where he needs to push it further in to anchor it to that. I think it's fairly secure there to do that. I mean, he's got a whole other support out there, so I think I'm in good shape with it.
Good. Anybody else? Would someone like to make a motion? Go ahead, Mary Ann.
She's muted. Marianne, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I'll make a
You're good.
motion to approve application IWWC 20-73. Patrick Hussey, 752 Lake Drive, to replace the steel decking under his dock by way of removing decking, or replacing the I-beams and replacing the decking, and securing it to the concrete pad on the land side and securing it to the pier, which is on the lake bed.
There a second?
I'll second that.
Russ? Any discussion on it at this point?
I don't think we need a bond. My thought is we don't need a bond. There's no silt situation here. You're just on top of the ice, taking something off, putting it back into existing concrete. You wouldn't need a silt fence the way he's doing it.
Well, you couldn't put one out anyway.
Yeah, you couldn't put it, I mean, it wouldn't. So, I mean, I think it's a good project to do when it's frozen.
Mr. Hussey, my assumption is this project is going to be completed within the next month or so. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody insisting on a bond?
I don't think so.
I don't think we need a bond. Just to reiterate what Steve asked for, Patrick, is just amend the drawings to show where the dock is within the littoral boundaries for the town's records.
Is that a condition?
Yes. All in favor?
Aye. Unanimous.
It looks unanimous. Okay, Mr. Hussey,
Mhm.
thank you very much. And just remember, one of the conditions is to just tell Pam on your survey or whatever document you submitted, the position of the dock in terms of the littoral boundary. And she'll work with you on that issue.
I'll have that done by the weekend.
Thank you very much. Have a good
Appreciate your
weekend.
help. Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Good night.
All right, the next application is 21-02. The applicant is Christopher Chinook at 242 Perch Rock Trail to repair the lake wall. Your representative or Mr. Chinook
He's-
present? Go ahead.
He is withdrawing his application. I received a voicemail from him. After conferring with Jim Rollins and reviewing the project, I think he did consult with an engineer. He's not going to be able to do what he needs to do within this drawdown, and he feels he needs a deep drawdown. So again, not having that in writing, it was a voicemail this afternoon.
So on your last suggestion, you asked us to vote on denying the application.
Yeah, this one, I don't think I think you still have time. So if you prefer that I get that in writing, we have time. So you
All right,
can
let's be transparent and continue it to the next
Sure.
meeting based on the request that the applicant has not submitted a withdrawal in writing at this point. We need a
Yeah.
motion to that effect?
Yeah.
I made one. Is there a second?
I'll
They're all
second.
second.
Okay, thank you, Andrea, for purposes of the record. All those in favor of continuing?
Aye.
Looks unanimous.
Mhm.
Thank you. All right, the next application is 21-04. The applicant is James Cloxico at 100 New Hartford Road. And the gentleman is proposing a landscape and construction yard for the purposes of mini mixing concrete. Is James present?
Yes.
Okay, James, you want to talk to us about what you're proposing?
Well, to reiterate, I believe my engineer was supposed to be on here. Bob Green, are you on?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. So, yes, so to reiterate, I have a landscaping business. I do snow plowing, lawn mowing, light construction work, and the mini mix concrete. And the mini mix concrete seemed to be the sticking point with what I'm proposing, because I need to have outside storage of sand and stone, and loose storage of a bulk sand and stone that the commission's concerned with getting into the brook. But we're confident that we can do this without getting any contamination into the wetlands.
Bob, you want to talk to us about how?
What do you want?
Well,
Just give us your perspective of what he proposed and tell us why it's going to work.
Well, first of all, we know it's going to work, but it's a matter of developing the mapping so that you can join with us and see what the proposal is. Everything that he proposes to do is going to stay within the existing curbing. So fortunately, we've been able to, and I'm sure you know, our surveyors were there finally today to get some mapping started within the curbed area to show where the sand and stone is going to be stored, where the cement silo is going to be placed, and all the activity that is most likely going to be, or much of it, which is going to be within the limits of an upland review. As you certainly know, we cannot flag wetlands. They were done when the Kentucky Fried Chicken site plan was prepared, and subsequent to that, the approval allowed for a reasonable amount of fill to be placed so that the previous facility could be built. We were requested as part of the application, and rightly so, that we include a new flagged wetland line. Immediately after that, we got 2 feet of snow, and it's very difficult for us to continue forward. As far as why the project is going to work, I kind of defer to a later date when we can finally do the mapping, and I would not want to misrepresent something that may not work once we get the mapping completed and our proposed drawings submitted to you. What I would think, we'd like to be able to have the mini mix concrete truck be able to leave the site. Nothing can be prepared on the site. Everything's frozen, and the inability to get product out of there is difficult, but we'd like to have the commission consider allowing us to, if nothing else, to take the mini mix truck off-site in the event there's a request for product to be placed by Mr. Clacko. Other than that, he's not doing all that much on site, and he won't until we get wetlands approval.
I
And
think
site
one of
plan
the
approval.
concerns I know I had last time was just, we're trying to get around, the drainage out of that parking lot, which discharges directly into the wetlands, that we talked about, making sure that drainage was filtered out, probably if there was a lot of sand, or that we had a maintenance schedule on, so it didn't just get filled out and go start contaminating the wetlands going, from that discharge pipe, which goes kind of directly, the site, I would imagine, Bob, that goes right down into the water there. Because I think when I was there last, the actual drainage cover, it's not a storm drain, main drain there was covered over may have been covered over by a enclosed dumpster. I think those are some of the main things we were looking at.
What we've done at this point is we've taken precautions to put a filter fabric
underneath the grate
I did see that, yep.
in case anything should happen, and I don't believe it will based on elevations, but again, until we do the mapping and prove it, Mr. Klockow has been gracious enough to put the filter fabric underneath the grate as requested by staff. So it is being protected at this point, at least.
I have a question about the drain itself. Is that drain constructed in the same nature as the drains around the lake where the exit pipe is a foot or several feet above the bottom of the drain so that the silt and the sand sinks? Is that drain
Yes,
constructed
it
that same
was,
way?
it appears to be that. He can answer too, but when I looked at
I
it,
didn't look inside it, so I didn't.
it's a storm drain.
Okay, so the exit pipe is a ways above the bottom of the drain.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, we can't get in there because there's snow and it's filled. So I can address that.
Bob, when you address that, I'd like to see a maintenance schedule for that drain included in the engineer's report.
Oh, absolutely.
Because inevitably, something is going to contaminate the surface, and the surface meaning the area outside where the sand is contained and where the rocks may be contained. And based on what I saw in terms of the slope of the land and the parking lot or whatever, however you want to describe it, it goes straight into that drain. So we're going to need a maintenance schedule for sure to consider that. And just, Bob, another thing to consider, when I met with Mr. Klecko today, he indicated that he's not adverse to necessarily moving that sand pit area to another part of the property, which would bring it further away from the catch basin, the immediate catch basin adjacent to it, and possibly switch the storage of cement in that area and sand to the other area. But that's just, let the engineer come up with the best solution to our concerns and how we can make this work.
Can do.
Pam, anything else that we missed in this conversation?
No, but you haven't accepted this application yet because the plans,
Okay.
I think you had,
It's under,
it was submitted on, I think it was submitted on January 11th, and your last meeting was what, January
17th or something.
20th? Yeah.
January
And
20.
so all we have is a 2018 site plan. And so, yeah, like you said, I can pull it up, but I mean, you're not looking for any type of approval this evening, correct? You're just appearing to update the commission on the progress of the application, right?
Yes, I'm just trying to buy time till the snow melts.
Okay.
But, you talked about his truck coming in and out. There should be no activity until there's been approval from planning and zoning, and planning and zoning can't give approval until Wetlands gives their approval. And we need a updated site plan.
Well, we can come in and clear snow, correct?
That's what planning and zoning had indicated, that, yeah, you can plow your parking lot.
Okay, and I'm not privy to the full planning and zoning at this point, but the ability to get the vehicle in and out of the site, and that's the only thing that's going to happen, is something that we request that the commission consider at least on a temporary basis.
Well, he's not under a cease and desist, so.
Okay.
You're talking about a one-time movement of that vehicle or an in
Well,
and out? Pardon?
it depends on the need for product that Mr. Klockow provides. None of the product will be manufactured or used on the site. It's a matter of opening the garage door, backing the truck out, driving to a yard, having the product loaded into his truck, going to the job site.
Okay.
Actually talking about opening up for business for ready mix concrete out of there.
You're not looking for that type of finding from the commission this evening, correct? I mean,
No,
because
if
I
we're
think-
not under a cease and desist, but if someone sees that truck leaving, it's gonna leave empty.
So you're proposing that the truck and the facility only be used to store the truck when it's not in use, and when it is in use, its product will be filled, the truck will be filled by products in a different location and distributed to wherever it belongs to go or should be going, and then return empty and clean and put back in the garage until its next need. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, come and go, drive in, drive out with no activity. And Mr. Clacko, I'm sure, can confirm that if he's still.
100%. Yep, 100%. And it may not be anything that happens for weeks because of the weather. But you know, if by chance I do get an order or two, I would like to be able. The only reason I need to put the truck in the garage is because it'll freeze up if I leave it outside.
But where do you fill? You need to fill the truck with.
I can go to another location for that. Yep.
Okay, so you're with your sand, your your aggregate, all of that. You're saying that you're not looking to do that at this site.
No, not until I get a final approval. If and when I get approval from the proper commissions.
So where is the other site?
Well, I can go to where I buy my sand and stone. They can load me up there, and I can actually. I have another friend of mine has a construction yard in Torrington, and I can buy bags of cement from Home Depot, just like you can go to Home Depot and buy a bag of cement, and I can load it like that. It's about triple the cost of what I can get the cement for in bulk, but it's what I'm hoping to be able to do to maintain the business. If there's going to be any, and it might not be. If it stays cold like this with snow, there won't be any. I haven't done anything there in probably 2.5 weeks. I haven't done any deliveries. There may be one, next week. There may not be one for, like I said, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. I don't know. It's all up to the weather.
Pam, are you uncomfortable with the suggestion or the request?
I'm not sure I'd say uncomfortable. I as far as this commission's concerned, I guess you'd probably want to be issuing guidance that you'd like the wetlands flagged ASAP, and whatever stockpiles are existing should not be touched until there's been approval. So he's got material there. What's there should remain in its current form until you get the proper approvals. What you're asking about driving on and off the site is really a zoning matter, because this commission deals with, disturbances to, in the wetlands area or within the review area.
Correct, but at the last zoning meeting,
we won't talk about that now. We won't talk about zoning right now because we're going to stick just to wetlands. So as far as wetlands goes, that's the guidance I would think that you'd want to be providing, that there should be, you don't want any kind of site disturbance that falls within the review area.
Correct, and that's what I presented to the commission, that he just needs to drive in and drive out. So whatever.
My wheels are turning. I'm thinking, because we don't want to mix, same thing, we don't want to mix authorities. So what he's asking about coming and going really is a zoning matter that I can talk with him offline.
Right, but we also want you to be comfortable that he's not taking product, because that's within the review area, and that's what we're representing. That we're not going to be having any activity of product being moved, deposited, removed from the area.
Right.
Okay.
And from staff's perspective, it really just means, monitoring.
Sure.
All right, my sense is then, based on the language that Mr. Green and Mr. Klecko has agreed to, our only role tonight would be to accept the application and wait for.
I'm not even sure you're doing that tonight, Steve, because
Oh,
you only want to accept it when it's complete, and I don't think you find it complete without the wetlands delineated.
So we're going to continue it?
Or the other things we asked for. So no, it's not. We would have to have a continuance then.
Yeah, you yes. And you
We're
relate,
only voting on a potential on a continuance as far as the other, in a sense, issue of him driving his vehicle in and out of there. That's not under
It's not our issue.
Right.
So we need the wetlands and we need a schedule and maintenance of the cleaning of the drains.
Yes,
So
you'll get,
then I'm confused. This item is listed under old business. Apparently, we haven't accepted the application at all, and we can't act on it tonight because it's an incomplete application. Is that what you're saying, Pam?
right. So, right,
Okay, so
exactly.
what officially position can we take?
Kurt
You're
has a question here.
You're issuing guidance to him,
Okay.
you
Kurt?
know, and yeah,
Mr. Clarko mentioned a garage. You saying that you have a garage on the property?
You have a garage door in the building, yes.
Mr. Clacko only recently purchased the property. He had visited my office. I actually looked it up to see, you know, what was, I don't know when he closed on the property, but he had came in to see me on or about August 26th. He purchased the property and he got started. Getting started meant, you know, he established some storage areas outside. He made some building modifications, including a garage door to the rear of the building. And I guess he was selling Christmas trees there this winter. So, you know, he's getting right now. There hasn't been a cease and desist order issued because, you know, the goal with those is to gain compliance. He's retained Bob Green, professional engineer out of Terryville. I believe that they're acting in good faith now. We have a letter from the wetlands soil scientists saying that they were unable to delineate the wetlands because of the snow cover. We're, you know, he's here tonight despite not having any anything new to share. So, you know, we're going to monitor this, and, you know, there can be a cease and desist order issued if there's not continued cooperation.
You can count on 100% continued cooperation
I believe it.
to the best
Okay.
to the best of my ability.
Well, I'm concerned about the garage. The garage came out earlier, and I'm sorry, and I did this out. I wrote about my head with the garage. All of a sudden, I don't see applications for that.
I think they're using the term garage loosely. I haven't been inside the building, but I don't think there's any equipment like lifts or anything else
We'll
that
find
would
out. Yeah.
constitute a
right.
garage. I think it's just in the back of the building, they put a garage door so that the truck can be stored inside the building, like my home garage or your home garage, so to speak, as opposed to, quote, a garage.
You know, I staff the building department too. So, you know, it's, you know, I understand that angle of it as well. You know, he's going to be expediting his efforts, I'm sure, because he's likely to be getting a call from the building official too, to follow up on this matter.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, Pam, if we're not going to take any action on it, including accepting the application, but at the next meeting, if both gentlemen provide us in a timely manner everything we need, we can accept and approve or make a decision at the next meeting?
That is, yes, you would have to determine, you know, that it's still not a significant.
Right. Oh, right, for public,
Yeah,
public
yeah,
hearing on it.
yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
So we can't
Yep.
at this point. Okay.
Yeah, and
so we
it's
met.
we'll probably, depending on, you know, what he's doing, you know, we may seek, you know, an opinion from,
Okay.
you know, just, you know, but we'll see what we get from the soil scientist too.
Okay,
So-
gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
thank you.
Thank
And I don't
you.
think there's anything else that we have to add. All right, the next application is 21-05, David Trussy and Kristen Pussy, 215 West Wakefield Boulevard, to replace a waterfront decking, rails, rebuilding retaining wall, prevent erosion of lake deposits and fencing. Is there anyone present from, or representing Mr. Trussy?
It doesn't appear to be. So I received comments from the I'm gonna pull them up right now. I didn't get them until after 4 this afternoon. Okay, so you'll see I got them at 4:41 this afternoon. Are you seeing this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
You
we
didn't open
we
it
see
up
the
yet.
email.
Pam.
We don't see the picture.
I'll show you. Hold on. Okay, so these are the plans.
Oh, right.
There
Okay.
were plans submitted by Mr. Percy and his engineer on February 15th. And his comments include the following. Yep.
Pam, I'm confused as to the behavior of where this commission should be based on what you're showing us now. I think,
So keep reading. The engineers that we retain to review it on behalf of the town are suggesting that the embankment needs to be addressed immediately.
okay, we spent some time talking about how to stabilize that embankment at the last meeting, and the decision was not to do anything
Until we get
got
it.
some kind of feedback from our engineer. So he's suggesting at this point that the applicant or the town stabilize this embankment to prevent any kind of erosion or further deterioration.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Prussi is not present. Is he aware of this letter?
I sent it to his team this afternoon, shortly after receiving this.
Well, did he give you any feedback or any call or anything?
No.
So we don't even know if he received it, other than we know that you sent it to him.
Yes, so you can continue on with other business and see if Mr. Percy arrives before the end of this meeting. I can send a follow-up email in the meantime and see, what the story is.
All right, just before we move to that position, if there's no return response from anybody from Mr. Prussi's end, can we authorize the town, Public Works to remediate the project and pass the expense along to Mr. Prussi?
Yes,
We can.
yes, and the town, and maybe we ought to revisit that sometime, Steve, if you feel it necessary. I've talked with Jim Rollins about this whole matter, and he's up to speed with it. And then had talked with him about when the town needs to come in with an application. Like there's Whiting Street reconstruction. They're coming in with an application for that. That's a major project. They're going to come before you. They're going to review the plans and get a formal approval. But in this respect, when Public Works undertakes work within the review area, my understanding is that you've more or less left the decision on when to appear before you with, a project that, may be greater in scope up to Jim Rollins. Now, is that still the consensus of the commission? That when Public Works-
I think only if Jim Rollins is, I think, up to speed and senses an urgency. I visited that site today. It's almost an impossible site to get to. That fence is, at best dangerous. It's tilted and angled toward the lake. There's nothing to stabilize it. I would be hard pressed to see how anybody can, stabilize the waterfront without doing something about getting to the waterfront. And there seems to be a small gate opening.
No, they They may have to remove a couple of sections of fence to do the
Yeah.
work that they have to
Right.
do.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that something the town actually wants to undertake to that? I mean, certainly you have the advantage, you have the unique,
You know,
yeah,
it's
you have
gotta
the
get
unique.
done.
What's that? Sorry?
It's got to get done. So, you know,
We do have the unique advantage, which probably most towns don't, is that the head of public works was a very good site excavator himself. He's very different. He's not just some engineer. Rollins used to do this work professionally, so he can guide people to do it. So that is a unique situation that works potentially to everybody's advantage.
the town has a project manager too, who's happens to be a professional engineer. So between the two of them, you know, the town's in good hands. And so if it becomes necessary that the town undertake the remediation work, you know, well, they'll between them and counsel from the independent engineer, it'll get done, and you know, the
Well,
road will be.
Pam, what I think I heard you say is that the town would then have to submit an application to us.
I just want to make sure that, like, you know, we were going to wait until, you know, see if he comes on. But if there's a window of time, if we don't hear from the applicant, or the applicant, you know, gives us some type of indication that he's not going to, you know, address it, you don't need an application from Jimmy. Like, he's just.
We could, okay, all right. All right, so then, you know, why don't we just hold off for any further discussion on this until the end of the meeting, which will allow Pam time to see if
Yeah,
Mr.
and let me
Plessy
check the
responds or can reach out to him.
Yep.
And then we'll come back to it at the end of the meeting.
Yep.
All right, we have new business now, application 21-06. The applicant is Matt Clausen. The owner is Mark Lewis. The address of the project is 163 West Wakefield Boulevard. And the proposal is to rebuild an existing deck. Is Mr. Lewis or Mr. Clausen here? I see Matt.
Good evening. For the record, Matthew Clausen. In front of you guys, you have a survey from John DeCara that documents what is existing there as of today's date. We also provided you guys with a set of drawings. That'll be more for the building department, if approved. But what the project entails is there's an old dilapidated deck on the premises right now. It currently is, like I said, in a state of disrepair. What we're proposing to do is remove the existing structure, install 11 sonotubes, and then rebuild in the same footprint as what's existing. Minus, there's a few small areas which John DeCara located on his drawing or on the map, the survey, and those areas are highlighted in red. The deck area protrudes out, hangs over the lake, and by our ordinances, obviously that is not allowed anymore. So we're going to pull the structure back to the edge of the wall, and that's what the drawings indicate, as well as the survey.
Pam, are you able to bring that picture up?
Yep. Where am I?
Matt, based on the request, you're not proposing any work on the wall. You're talking about strictly the deck.
Correct.
Now, that deck seems to run parallel to the wall,
No, it's a dock.
to the dock, rather.
Yeah, no, yeah, Matt, talk about that dock. What's the plan there?
All right. Yeah, after obviously John DeCara had done some the survey, it indicates where the existing dock, walkway, whatever you want to call it, is, and according to that, it does not meet your town regulations or your dock and mooring ordinances. So we have no problem providing a new set of maps, which would turn it so it would be 90 degrees off the existing wall, and the ramp would protrude out. I'd imagine we're going to use the same ramp that's there, which is 4 by 20, and then situate the boat lift alongside of it. So this way it meets your ordinances. And I know, obviously, I had these, John DeCara had already done these maps up. So prior to the next meeting, I'll have that one change done. And I sort of wanted to just, present it. And then if there was anything else he needed to locate, I would also do it for the next meeting.
What's the distance for the buoy that, without scaling it off, do you know?
To be perfectly honest, I never even noticed that buoy.
That's not part of the proposal, though.
And 1 second.
No, but you want to get it right, because
Yeah, no, and then, when John does the new work, we'd like to see littoral boundaries and distance out into the lake bed and all of the basic information that we always ask for.
The buoy, this is a 1 = 10 scale, and the buoy scales out at 40 feet. Maybe 42, maybe.
well, just in response to, what else is the commission going to want, that, have that called out if you would. It's okay.
Yeah. I can add littoral boundaries. There will be no interference with that because you could see where the dock is right now. We just turn it 90 degrees so it protrudes out into the lake there. But again, it's only a 20-foot section, so we can do that, propose that. That's no issues.
What John has indicated there is broken concrete. Is that staying in its current form?
What's that now?
The broken concrete shown on the site plan? That there's no plan to do anything with that as part of this, right?
He labeled it as broken concrete.
Yeah.
What's that now? Which part? Oh, and that, no, we didn't. No, we're not proposing any. I see that now. That's outside the deck area. So no, at this point, I can ask him if he wants to address that at all, but at this point, it was not brought to my attention whatsoever in regards to that.
Pam, would you bring the cursor that you control to where the dock is going to, sort of move from to where it's going to go?
I think he's talking about this is what you're talking about, right, Matt? You're gonna.
Yeah, we turn it 90 degrees to that. So where
has this always been here, this concrete?
To the best of my knowledge, it doesn't. I can't prove it any differently. In the state of, it definitely wasn't recent. That's for sure, to my knowledge.
So Steve,
Right.
It shoots out this way. They're going to shoot it out.
Right. And there's going to be a boat lift there, or there is one already?
There is one there currently.
And that's been permitted, or?
No, this area was not permitted. It just appeared.
Oh.
Well,
but
this
he's
was
going to get right now. He's looking to get right now.
Yeah, this was previously John Forrest's home. I don't know if you guys know John Forrest or not, but yeah, he had, it was not, but there is actually some photos floating around where there's actually 2 boat lifts there, but it was going the opposite way when there was 2 boat lifts. This is probably going back into the 90s or whatnot, but yeah, no, we can just, obviously we'll meet all the ordinances. We're only going to be 20 feet off the shore. And I think he's got a couple 100 feet of waterfront right there. So that we won't have any problems meeting any of the ordinances.
What is all this other, this is all grass behind the decks?
The street, that's the street.
No,
it's just.
The street's over here. I'm talking about just to the, what is it, west of the.
Yeah, it is grass directly, like you can see the steps that go onto the existing upper deck there. That's like a grassy area. It's
This
grass.
all remains sod, like it's
Yes.
grass.
Correct. Yeah, nothing else is changing there.
And there's no railings necessary for this? There's no sides to this deck?
The lower deck, no, because it's pretty much flush with the ground, but if you also see it on the drawings we presented, that we do propose on the upper deck some railings on there going
Let me pull
around
that
it.
up for the commission. Hold on.
Matt, just while we're waiting,
Yep.
you're aware that the ordinance, allows for not 2 boat lifts, but 1 boat lift, and a second lift that's designed for 2 jet skis?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
we only want one. We only want one boat lift.
Because there's a lot of stuff out in the waterfront already. And, apparently, by your admission, that none of it has been permitted.
To be perfectly honest, I didn't have anything to do with putting that in.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it's
But
there.
it's just, he honestly, when he bought the place that had 2 boat lifts, he didn't even think twice about it. So he did replace the boat lift. I believe it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that.
All right, so he's gonna wind up with a boat lift and a second lift for jet skis.
But no, we're just proposing a boat lift and
Okay,
just one boat lift and using the existing 4x20 ramp that's there.
okay, so then your proposal is to rebuild existing deck, remove deck, install sonotubes, rebuild deck as planned, and install a boat lift.
Yes, correct. That will be updated. Yeah.
All right, I think you have a general idea and a more specific idea of what we're looking for at the next meeting, so we're simply accepting this application at this point. So is there a motion to accept?
I'll make a
I'll
motion.
make a motion.
Go ahead, Chris.
I'll make a motion that we accept application for Mark Lewis at 163 West Wakefield Boulevard, rebuilding the existing deck.
I'll second that.
Andrea, any discussion on accepting?
Wait, finding the activity is not significant.
Okay, do we need a public hearing is the question.
No.
I don't think
I mean,
so.
you're just replacing what's existing there somewhat and upgrading it, correct?
Correct. There'll be 11 sonotubes we have to install. So, minimal amount of dirt to be moved, maybe 5 or 6 yards of dirt, if that.
When do you propose to do the project, Matt?
It'll be spring. I mean, if the snow melts, in the next couple of weeks, well, obviously we can't get going on it till at the earliest, so I get approval, but it'll be spring.
Okay.
April, probably.
All right.
In a perfect world.
Any other concerns for a public hearing? I don't see the necessity. Anybody disagree?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, I don't see the necessity.
All right, all those in favor of accepting the application?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Okay, thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you. See you next month.
Yep, good night. I think we're finished with our agenda unless we want to go back to.
No,
Go ahead.
you have 2 more.
Oh, do we?
Yeah,
What were they on our cell phones?
I'll pull them up so that you can see them.
Was it the ones that were emailed?
I emailed you the link because, it would be faster. So let's see. So let me unmute Rick. Hey, Rick, I know you're on the phone, so I'm going to give you a prompt to unmute, and then you just want to accept it.
Who's Rick?
Rick Utenis is Ideal Woodworking, so just one moment.
Okay.
Yep, there he is. Hi, Rick, can you hear
Hi,
me?
yes, I can. This is Rick Utenis from Ideal Woodworking.
Okay, so I'm pulling up your application for the benefit of the commission. If you want to just describe it, and I'll share my screen so that they can see what has been submitted.
Okay. Do they have the narrative that I wrote in there? I was wondering if somebody could read that aloud.
Okay, so right now it's 129 East Lake Street. I put it on the agenda because I'm going to have trouble. Level area for swing set, add wood chips, increase water entrance by 12 feet by 13 feet. Is it 12 feet by 13 or by 3, Rick?
13.
Okay, I hope I have the agenda right. We'll have to look at that, but I'll make sure we get it right for the next meeting. Excavate for pervious paver, pervious paver terrace uphill and outside of regulated area. So that was the proposal written on the first page of the application. And Rick, here's the site plan, and then here is Rick's narrative. So I'm not sure if the commission wants to, if you just give us maybe a minute or two and let them read your narrative.
Sure, that'd be great.
I know that Jackie's looking on a little screen, but it's excavate uphill of the regulated wetland area for a stone retaining wall around a new pervious paver patio. The patio will be 34 feet by 40 feet with 100 lineal feet of retaining wall around the perimeter, varying in height from 12 inches to 46 inches. 6 yards of material will be removed from site and stone brought in for the pervious sub base for the pavers as per Mike Sherman PE design. Excavate a flat area for a swing set. This is the second part of his proposal. Excavate a flat area for a swing set, 85% of it, which is uphill from the regulated area. The disturbed area will be roughly 30 feet by 30 feet to change the grade for a 10 by 12 level area for the swing set. Most of the disturbed area will be planted with grass, again, except for under the swing area, which will be pervious wood chips. Approximately 5 yards of material will be removed from site. And the third part of the proposal is increase the size of the existing water entrance by 12 feet by 13 feet so the children can walk into the water. This will increase the size of the Highland Lake by 156 square feet. Approximately 5 yards of material will be removed and none added. The existing stone retaining walls on each side will be continued 10 feet each side. We plan for this work to begin in March and be completed by August. At the recommendation of the board, a silt fence can be placed downhill from the excavation areas. No materials will be stored on site. And then this is just a field card, and there are copies in my office that will be in your March package. And now, Rick, I am just turning the screen so that they can see the site plan by Keefe.
And what was the address again?
Okay.
This is 129 East Lake Street. So Rick, is Mike Sherman also working on a plan for or what's he going to give you detail? What do you reference Mike Sherman?
When I wrote that, I was trying to contact him, and since then he said he was too busy to take on the project. He did recommend that I look back to the commission's previously approved pervious paver details and go with one of those.
So when, just from a zoning perspective, and I know it's outside the scope of this, someone will have to be at Mike. So just so you get right with zoning, let me see what, someone will have to, what's the impervious? What are you for impervious here? Yeah.
Already over the limit.
Yeah. So some engineer is going to have to sign off on the installation zoning wise. So you might want to check back with Mike and see if, he'll have, he may not have had time for this meeting, but by the time you get, if you get on his calendar for that.
Okay.
we pull out I'm looking at the proposed expansion of child safe beach. So what's added to, so we're gonna be taking material out of there. What's added to the base of that? Is it
Nothing.
sand?
We're just gonna dig that back. Right now, it's like an 18-inch step into the water, and they want to just dig that back till the children can just walk off the grass into the water. We're not
Right,
putting any
but it's
material
just
in
gonna
there.
be existing soil that's there? Or is there
Right.
a proposal to bring any other material there?
No, just what's there. I told them that we couldn't bring material in.
Okay.
And that play area, Rick, is pretty far back off the water, it looks like, the proposed pervious play area.
Yeah, you can see the existing line that the surveyor put on there. It's just going to continue back off of that. Yes.
Okay.
They have a stone retaining wall along the edge of the lake, and it already is jogged in where the area is now, and they're just going to extend it a little further.
No, I think he's talking about the play area, aren't you?
The play area, Rick.
Where the swing set's going.
Oh, what was your question again, Steve?
No, I said that's the proposed area, and that's, without having a scaled map in front of us, a rule, how far back off is the new proposed play area from the lake bed?
Oh, the 100-foot line from the lake is on that surveyor's map
I
there.
see it. I see it. You made reference to that before. So 85%, the language you use is
Right.
is above the 100-foot setback.
That's correct.
Okay.
And I'll come into the meeting just because it's in the upland area. I believe you guys need to put your blessing on it or qualifications.
Can you explain the expansion of the child-safe beach? What do you mean by that? Are you going to tear out some of that stone wall so they can step down, or are you adding a step or clearing the property?
It's going to be, right now it's 18 inches at the edge of that step, and we're going to dig it back till it comes up to grade, so it just comes up to 0. There's no step.
Like a gentle slope? Is that what you're going to do?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're
From 0 to...
There.
What's that?
Well, I don't know how deep the water is, so if you dig back, is the water going to be any shallower?
Yes, because the grade goes uphill towards the house, towards the play area.
Okay, so you're going to grade it.
That's correct.
Okay.
But there's a little bit of a stone wall there. I don't understand how you're grading it. Can you explain? You're basically going to walk from the property right into the water?
That's right, just like you would at Racer Beach. You just walk across the beach into the water.
I'm looking at an old picture and I'm seeing in that little area there's a stone wall, a retaining wall. How are you going to grade that without disturbing the stones? Or are you pulling the stone out?
He's pulling this out right here. So
yeah, that's stone wall in the picture that I see. Okay.
Yeah, so that's coming out.
Okay.
And then he's gonna remove some of the earth here, right? Because it's lawn.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's gonna pull this back, like, rake it is another term to rake it so that it gently slopes down.
And water will fill in that area though?
Sure, the lake will fill in there, yes. Yep.
Right.
We're going to make the lake a little bigger.
Is there any plan to install a buffer garden?
Say it again, Marianne.
Is there any plan to install a buffer garden?
Yes.
No. Where would you put a buffer garden?
I don't know. Would your clients consider adding one? Not necessarily here, right, Marianne? Because that would defeat the whole intention of it.
Yeah, not necessarily there, but yeah.
Even like on a corner here, something to just minimize the.
The whole property line.
What's that, Kurt? The whole line you want it?
Yeah, I mean, to prevent the grass clippings from getting into the lake.
Yeah, how would that go, Rick? How would you prevent, you know, you're mowing, how would you prevent the, you know, what is to prevent the grass clippings from going into the lake, you know, where the children would be accessing the water?
A bag on the lawnmower.
Yeah. Here we go.
That's Rick one.
I don't know why that's funny. That was a serious answer to a serious question.
No,
Oh, good. That's good.
They'd have to call me each time so I could run up there and watch.
Okay, right.
Right. I'm not sure what, you know, what we could suggest.
Rick, to move off that topic for a moment, you're planning to go back approximately 12 feet to sort of slope the land so that the land meets the lake bed, approximately 12 feet into the property. Is that more or less what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
You know, how do you figure, why do you figure 12 feet? Why not 8 feet? Why not 13 feet? Why not 18 feet? It's just a conjecture on your part?
It is based on the slope of the lawn that's there now.
Okay.
Steve, will you extend that retaining wall along the sides?
On the
Extend that
two
back
sides,
to,
I hope. Yes, on the two sides, I hope to prevent erosion.
What's going to prevent erosion on the entrance area?
Nothing.
Probably the grass.
Well, I don't think that's going to be really acceptable, right?
No, I'm just saying, you know.
Something's going to have to prevent erosion there, because otherwise we're creating an opportunity for erosion.
So I have a photograph that Christine Hunter is a realtor. So she's a local realtor. So she often can recall when properties, you know, have been on the market recently. So as to give the commission. So let me, if it's okay, yeah, if it's okay. Rick, do you have any objection to that?
No, not at all.
Okay. So this is the area. So you can see how the slope, you know, there's the distance and how the land slopes. Let me see if I can get that bigger. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save it and then I'll be able to zoom in. So just give me a second.
It just adds a little more clarity when you can see it.
It does help. What is this?
So the proposal is to the right of that little boat shed or
Yep.
changing area, and just to take the back retaining wall off that's on the land and just allow the lake to fill in 12 feet further back. Rick, about where the back retaining wall is, about how deep is the water there now?
18 inches.
And you think 12 feet is going to bring you back to 0 inches, so to speak?
Yes. Yes.
but the side walls also need to be noted on a set of plans, on a set of more detailed plans eventually, is that the side walls are going to be extended that 12 feet up, correct, Rick?
I wrote that in the narrative, yes.
Okay, but we need to see it on well, maybe more clearly on a set of plans, because the plans are going to be redone a little bit for the proposed permeable pavers, correct?
Wouldn't leaving it open to the lawn like that just be inviting erosion and sedimentation to flow right down into the lake?
Especially when you have waves.
Yeah.
And there's a slope there, so any rainwater or anything like that.
Rick,
Treating your grass.
Rick, when Mike Sherman or another engineer is looking at this proposal, would you ask him to please consider putting some kind of a buffer area, flat to the ground, maybe impervious stone or bluestone or something where it's grass height, but yet there's a barrier between the water and the grass itself.
So Steve,
that-
when I mentioned, he doesn't formally have Mike Sherman as retained.
Oh, I said, but somebody like
So
Mike Sherman,
you're
yeah.
gonna want some, so
Well,
it
I mean,
sounds
I
like
think Mary Ann is looking to have some kind of a buffer installed there, and it's a valid issue. And while the engineer is proposing and putting this project together for Rick, that he consider or she consider some kind of a buffer surface that's contiguous to the grass and sort of like just slopes into the water and prevents erosion on one end and, minimizes the grass clippings that might not make the bag, Rick, getting into the lake.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not even going so far as to be prescriptive about asking
Yeah.
for a specific type of buffer, but I would like the engineer to propose some approach to this, like change in the landscape that prevents, like definitively prevents erosion.
And we need to know the entire depth of the inlet, so to speak. How many feet does it already go in? So how long will the 12-foot plus the current inlet be? How deep will the total thing be? Because that'll give you an idea of the slope. I think the slope is the scary thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's really not scary to go 18 inches over 12 feet. I mean, the handicap ramp is, 12 inches over 12 feet.
No, it's scary in terms of erosion.
Yeah.
That could probably be accomplished by lining that part that touches the grass and have a slight swale on the uphill section, so to have any water draining off, go off to the sides to avoid the swimming area. And just a border, maybe a border,
Off to the side
cobblestone.
into some sort of buffer garden or.
Yeah.
You know what I want to be careful of? I don't want to necessarily design this project for the
Yeah.
applicant.
I agree.
So, I think we've expressed our concerns as to what objectively we'd like to see in place. There is going to be an engineer employed to complete the project design for us or for the applicant. And our concerns are noted. And let's hope that they're addressed at the next meeting.
Okay, can we move to the playground area?
Okay? Pam, you want to bring up that picture for us, please? And that's the playground area where only a small percentage of it is in our domain?
That's correct. They're just going to put a swing set up there, just trying to change the grade a little bit to make a flat area for the swing set to sit. So most of it will be grass after it's regraded, and there'll be some wood chips underneath the swing set.
And then the patio that you're proposing, Rick?
Yeah, can we just do one at a time? Can we finish the swing
Okay.
set first?
I think everybody was silent on it, so I'm not sure there's any concern about it at this point.
Yeah, I don't have any concern on that. It's far enough away.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so then the Pervious Paver terrace comes out from the back of the house, has a little retaining wall around the perimeter of it, and it'll have a set of steps in the center to get down to the lawn.
Nat, would we be able to see that on a next set of engineer plans? You'd have those steps and any walls, how those walls are going to be built. I mean, I think we're just looking for the most amount of detail. As you can see from what we discussed with the lower section with the child safe beach, we just need a lot of detail of exactly what is going to be occurring there.
Okay, I don't want to get into construction details. That's kind of building department thing. I mean, as far as the wetlands go, I was talking about disturbing the area and the trouble with the pervious area that's already there. Are we concerned at all about doing a pervious paver terrace when the property is already past the allowed pervious area?
Well, I'm looking to see how much disturbance you have, because in the Highland Lake District, anything over 2,000 square feet, granted, these are separate areas, but total, like your area of disturbance is how many feet beyond this, would you say? How many feet beyond, your finished area?
On the downhill side only, it'd probably be like 15 feet. On the two sides, there won't be any. On the downhill side, that grade's going to change a little bit to keep the wall height down. So how big is the terrace, Pam? Was it 40 by 50?
40 by 40, I think you got here. 40.4 here and then 40.
So that's 1,600. So it's going to be right around that 2,000 square feet.
So, that's why, they ask questions about walls and whatnot, just to make sure, when you're,
okay.
But it looks like you had calculated how much material you're taking out and how much you're bringing in,
We're not going to store any there. When we take it out, it's just going to take it away.
And I think when you come back, it would be good for us to know how you're planning on getting equipment in and out.
Down the driveway and on either side of the house. I mean, to the swing set area, the paved driveway ends past the garage. Just going to drive a rubber track machine down to that and do the excavation, take the material away and bring the wood chips in. And on the terrace, it'll be on the opposite side of the house. There's like a 20-foot strip of grass there. That will become the access for the material to come out and go in.
Rick, at the water side of the proposed patio, what would be the finished height of the patio compared to the grass that abuts it? Right there where the
planters.
Well, at the highest point, it'll probably be around 32 inches above the patio, and then the wall height's going to be 46. They wanted like a little, not like a sitting wall, but they wanted a wall around the perimeter so the kids don't run over the edge.
Okay.
Do we need to be concerned about any drainage issues that might be caused by the pervious patio?
Well, it looks like the patio is well over 100 feet from the waterfront, and it looks like it's a gentle slope down to the water, and it's all grassed. So I don't see any big concern about runoff at this point. Russ, do you agree?
No,
Disagree?
I would agree. I was just looking at it more too. I would agree with that. It's you don't have a big grade change there. While there's work there, it's not something that should affect the drainage significantly, that it's going into the lake unfiltered. And it is a permeable patio, so that's good.
All right. Any other questions from the commission?
So again, you're making a determination that the application is complete. I think the minutes will reflect the details that you're asking for. So if you do feel that the application is complete and you're accepting it tonight, you just discuss whether or not
Public hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't get a sense that there's a need for a public hearing, only because it's a pretty big piece of property. There doesn't seem to be major disturbance to the property. I would think The only real concern that I would have would be that sort of play entrance into the water per se. Everything else seems to be well off the lake itself. So that's where I sit on that public hearing concern. Anybody agree, disagree?
I would agree with that. I don't, I don't see it as in the public interest that it's that large of a scope of work that would require, you know, to schedule a meeting at this point.
Russ, Mary Ann?
No, I
No,
don't
I
think
agree.
so.
He's
I don't
adding
think
a
so.
deck, a playground and expanding the lake. I think doesn't need public hearing.
Okay, will someone make a motion to accept the application? 21-07 is the number, Pam? Because you didn't give us a number earlier, but I just went from 6 to 7, so,
Yes.
Is that correct?
Make a
Yes, it is.
motion.
Yes. Yep. Mhm.
okay.
I make a motion to accept application 21-07, 139 East Lake Street.
I second that.
Persona.
Not significant.
Not significant.
Right, Jackie? That's your motion? Not significant? Okay, thank you. And Andrew, you had seconded it?
Any other discussion on the project or the application? Hearing none.
Can I
all-
ask one more question, Steve?
Sure, Rick. Be careful.
My concern before hiring an engineer is if the Pervious pavers is going to be okay with the commission, even though the rest of the site is over the Pervious limit. I didn't get an answer to that before. We're not making it more non-conforming, but we're already over the limit.
The impervious one.
No, he's doing a pervious system. So most of that, Rick, is out of the review area. So, you know, you're more there for erosion control. Yeah, that's out of the review area.
Okay.
So, you know, it's a zoning matter at that point.
Okay.
You know, like you're right around 2,000 square feet. So, you know, they're really not looking at this for wetlands matter. Like if it was up here and it was definitely under 2,000 square feet, you wouldn't be before them.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, so you're very close. So, you know, Steve, you know, the commission can't really, you know, about the rest of it is, you know,
Close the door.
I'm trying to help. I hope I am.
Yeah,
I thank Rick for bringing it to our attention, but I think, you know, we're basically satisfied that it's above our purview, so to speak. It's part of the project,
Okay.
but, you know, it's not within our domain at this point because of where it's located.
And then,
All right.
you know,
Thank you.
Okay, we need a vote to accept. All those in favor?
Aye.
got
Okay.
it. Thank you.
Jeff, unanimous? Okay, Rick, thank you very much. We'll see you next month.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Pam, you said there was another application?
Yes, I'm pulling it up right now. I'm sure he'll unmute himself, Mr. Gagnon, and I believe he has an engineer on the call.
Yes, good evening. My name is Jason Gagnon. I'm here. I am going to try to purchase lot 22X on Platte Hill Road to build a single family house along with a septic and a well. The original plan, which we did not change the location of the house, was 195 feet to the closest wetlands, which would leave us way out of the upland review area. It does have an existing driveway that's already there that we would not disturb, and we would like to build the house in, you know, currently where it's shown right there with the septic and then the well on the opposite side of the house.
Just go over, what's the address again, sir?
It's lot 22X. It would probably be 448 Platte Hill Road.
What's the application number?
21-8, this came in after you had received your packages.
Rose? Leave her alone, seriously. What?
So this is not within our regulated area?
No, none of it should be in the regulated area.
This is,
Wait
likely
for
to
me.
be more than a half an acre of disturbance. It's in the rural residential zone. Again, you're possibly looking at this, with your, why is this allowed? I'm sorry. You're possibly looking at this, because if I'm not mistaken, you can answer this after. This design, the septic system is not complete yet. So they were eager to get their approval process started because it takes 2 meetings. I don't think you're looking at this for the proximity to the wetlands as much as I believe you're going to be, if it's, like I said, more than a half acre of disturbance, you look at it for erosion controls.
How much land is it?
Where is he? Hold on. I don't know where he is. Joe, maybe the engineer's on. So Joe.
Yeah, it's roughly, I want to say it's roughly 5 or 6 acres.
Okay.
Because the total parcel I think was 11, and we split that into 2, and we created 2 lots in the front. So I want to say it's roughly about that, 5 or 6 acres.
So like I said, you're looking at it for disturbance. What you have is a very rough plan. It's going to be finalized in the upcoming, days or weeks, Joe?
We're doing soil testing next week, so my intention is towards the end of that week or the first part of next. So about let's say a week and a half or so.
So is this application complete then?
Well,
I think what's lacking, in my opinion, is that we don't have the survey, and we haven't had the survey reviewed by an independent company to determine whether or not we should have any concerns.
Joe, are you having these wetlands updated? When were the wetlands flagged?
They were flagged in, I want to say, late '02.
So you're having them updated, right?
We weren't intending on that unless you wanted us to.
Generally, if it's been more than 10 years, don't you generally have them updated?
Not necessarily unless the site was disturbed.
Well, what do you mean? It was. I mean, the driveway was cut in. When was the driveway put in?
The driveway was probably put in maybe 10 years ago. I can only speculate because the owner had passed away, so I can't necessarily, I don't remember when he had started to do the work, to be honest with you. But I want to say it was right around that time frame. It was probably about 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago.
So, all right, why is this so loud? Sorry, you can unmute yourself, but there's some feedback coming in. So the applicant is going to be needing guidance on whether or not the commission would like the wetlands reflagged.
I think it's incumbent upon us to ask that, because it's been more than 10 years. The applicant is saying there's no disturbance, but yet a driveway was cut in. So in order for us to do due diligence, it would be appropriate to ask.
I would agree with that. It's going to be updated. No, I think he makes a very valid point there. I'd prefer to see it upgraded, so we're looking at everything and that's accurate. Not that much has changed, but it should be accurate.
Joe, do you have a concern about our request?
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you. Pam, any other suggestions? The disadvantage we have, Joe, and for anybody, is that there's nothing in front of us. So we're working on what Pam puts on the screen and what you say, but there's no connection to a piece of paper or something for us to really look at, and where we may have had the opportunity to visit the site. We didn't know about this until you guys started talking 15 minutes ago, so to speak.
I understand.
So you got to bear with us on this.
All right, so the next conversation would be, do you feel you have enough tonight to find whether or not you consider the activity to be significant, whether, if the application is complete, or again, it's just the clock is ticking. You don't have to accept it tonight, but it's up to you.
Well, it's not, most of it's not within our review area, so as far as the
plans, you're not sure, because
Right.
you're not sure. The plans aren't complete yet.
Right.
So what do we do? Continue it till the next monthly meeting?
Yeah, you can do that.
One option is to continue it, another is to approve or accept it with conditions.
Well, whether
No,
or
we
not we
can't
need a
accept-
public, whether or not we need a public hearing is what Pam is saying.
Okay.
And, we just don't know. I think it's to the applicant's advantage for us to continue it without taking a vote on it, so that people have an opportunity to sort of visit the site and see what it's like. And then, next month, there'll be far more information provided and we can determine.
But I would wait to visit the site until the plans are done, so you can see
Right.
where the house is gonna be laid out. You'll see where the perk tests are, you'll
Right.
be able to see where the activity is gonna be.
And where the wetland flags are?
Yeah, they'll be
Right.
flagged. It'll be flagged. So, if it's, 200 feet away, you're gonna see it's 200 feet away.
So it makes sense for us to simply continue this application
I think
and
so.
not take any
I
action
agree.
on it. Jackie,
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
any disagreement? Let's go that way.
Mm-mm.
All right, hearing none. Do we need a motion to continue, Pam? Or just,
Yeah, no, the minutes will show that.
Okay.
You reviewed it and you gave guidance. Okay.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I've sent an email to Prussy's, his Mr. Prusy, his engineer, his contractor, and I haven't gotten a reply yet, so.
All right, so then, going back to Prusy, then we're simply gonna continue his application without any action at all, correct?
Yeah.
Or we're gonna authorize Public Works to move ahead.
Yeah.
I think
mean,
something should be done to that property.
Yeah, I
mean,
think we should authorize Public Works to move ahead because it's just gonna get worse by the day.
when that frost comes out of the ground, I'm afraid that it's just gonna be seeping water out of there and undermine the road.
In the meantime, I had sent you an email this afternoon with that attachment, the engineer's comments. And then I asked, I provided a link to where all the meeting documents are uploaded to. So I guess in the meantime, just take a look at all the submittals because Percy did submit, his engineer submitted some details on the 15th. So, take a look at that so you see it, and then just take a look at it. Because I haven't gotten any paper copies. If I don't get them by March 17th, for your packages, I'll print them out so you guys have,
Okay. So then our action tonight should be to authorize the town to move ahead.
Yeah, encourage,
and, and stabilize the site.
Yep.
And then ask Jim to provide a statement back to us that it did happen and
just, a memorandum of some sort of,
okay. Pam,
We're saying that we're approving something that the homeowner potentially is incurring a cost, so none of us have any idea what it is, correct?
No, but that's generally not something, that's let the town,
Is that something the town deals with?
Yeah.
Russell, not for anything though. I mean, the gentleman at the last month's meeting knew the course of action would be somewhere along the line to stabilize the site. And it was suggested that the town may wind up doing it. So it's not a surprise to him. And the other side is it's incumbent upon him to be at the meeting. not for us to worry about why he's not here, other than the fact that, he's got a vested interest in being part of this conversation. Absent of him being absent, we have to do what we have to do. So Pam, you'll move ahead and reach out to Jim and ask him to stabilize that site as quickly as possible and get back to you with a letter to that effect?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Pam, anything else?
No.
Now, Prussie is still going to stay under warnings and violations?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I haven't been through something like this before, so I'll be in touch with Kevin Nelligan tomorrow.
Okay. And just so the commission is aware, I think this application is going to be a little strenuous to deal with. And I would suggest, to the best of our ability, and I went out there today, it's impossible to get down to the site. It's dangerous. On one side of it, there are a staircase that, is at best, ready to give way. And at the other side, it's almost impossible to get beyond the fence and see what's going on.
Yeah, don't try.
Yeah, I was just going to say, but again, if you can pass by the site so you have a sort of like a bird's eye view of what we're talking about. And hopefully that'll provide the commission with better insight as to what he would like to do and what, he can't do until we say so. So, if you can. Anything else on the agenda that we should be talking about, Pam? Because I think we're finished.
I just had one more question about that property. So the town of Public Works would, believes that needs to occur. Is that something that they can do in this weather in the next couple of weeks? Are they looking at that kind of time frame?
Yes.
They are, okay.
Yes.
Well, I would leave that up to Jim as to determine when the best time to go in and do it. Right now, there's so much snow there, I don't even know if you know where to put the material.
We'll consult with the reviewing engineer, and we'll come up with something.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Anything else?
We did want to talk about you talked about a Highland Lake liaison, or you bring that up in a different?
I presented it last month. I just threw it out as a thought, and I sort of want to keep it on the agenda. I think it would be meaningful for us to have some kind of a liaison to the Highland Lake Association, so that it's a way of them helping us disseminate information to new homeowners and to old homeowners who might be who are considering a project on the lake. I think it's good public relations just to be sort of like in touch with them. And I think, the suggestion with Public Works was the same thing. We have catch basins that are probably the biggest contaminants on the lake. Let's not kid each other. There's salt, there's sand being spread on the lake. It just makes sense to talk to Jim and have one person talk to him on some kind of a regular basis, so that we sort of, without going to Jim, we can have a discussion at the spur of the moment as to where we are.
Yeah,
so
that's something I'd be interested in doing.
Okay, so you'd like to work with Jim?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. Anybody else? I don't want to make it cumbersome.
I'd like to liaise with the Watershed Association. I was on the board for years.
Okay.
So that would be natural.
All right.
And
is there anybody else?
Are you also saying because there's the Highland Lake Association and the Watershed Association?
Same one. That's one and the same.
Oh, I thought there were two separate.
No, Highland Lake Watershed Association is probably its full name.
It is the full name.
Okay, so I think it's one and the same. Is there anybody else that would like to be part of the liaison to either Jim or the association?
Jackie, I'll be your wing girl.
Okay, good. All right, so Pam, do we have to necessarily reach out to Beth Papermaster? Or can we let our two individuals just sort of touch base with her?
Yeah,
Actually, I already mentioned it to Beth at one point. We were just chatting. She lives next door to me. She's the president. And she thought it was a good idea, so.
Okay, good. So she's aware of it then.
Yeah.
All right, so the two of you can move ahead with that. And Russ, if there anybody would like to work with Russ, and again, I don't want to make this burdensome. If anybody would like, just reach out to Russ and say, you're interested, and we don't have to formalize it because we know that Russ will be the point person on that.
I'll assist you in that, Russ.
Okay.
Be glad to assist you in that.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. I think that
I just had something.
Go ahead, Jackie.
It's just a curious thing because of this inlet for the children. When we had that parcel over here next to Foogers, where there's the inlet.
Right.
We had a discussion about how you measured the frontage.
Oh, right, yeah.
I think we should maybe talk about that at some point and make sure we have agreement on how that should be done. Because if you're going to measure in as the feet of frontage, you could use that in a variety of ways. So
yeah,
I'm going to fool around with that.
I think it's a good point that you make, and I think we have to, consider it. I think in this case, because the vastness of the property, widthwise on the lake, I don't think it's a concern because,
no, it isn't.
But again, it's certainly worthwhile talking about. So, maybe
I'd like guidance on that because I understood it. In my mind, I would have thought that you went,
straight.
Yeah, straight
So,
line across, not measuring all those jogs.
Pam, why don't you put that on as a business item so that we don't forget about it? And then, as time permits, we'll sort of touch base with it a little by little.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
I had one thing I wanted to bring up, and that was, and maybe Pam has some insight to this because of building and zoning. The properties that are behind, which I guess would be on the way to Torrington, Old Route 8, the properties behind the Department of Public Works, right? As you go down, there's more and more activity in those areas as there's there must be construction companies in there and whatnot, but it is abutting, that's all a prime wetland area there. And I feel like I've never seen, maybe there isn't anything to review there. I just feel like it's an active zone, that there's a lot of soil and stuff being moved that's fairly close to essentially a major wetland. That's the beginning of this, is that the Still River runs through there. That whole watercourse there that's been kind of pushed and made smaller and smaller, certainly years ago by the large highway and Old Route 8 there, but there seems to be a lot of activity there. I don't know if, it seems like there's significant activity in there, and that's a watershed that, potentially needs to be for, some more oversight.
Yeah.
Pam is.
That's me, Pam.
Isn't that
I think he's talking about off of New
That's what he's
Street.
talking about.
You're talking about off of New Street, aren't you, Russ?
Don't take it personal, Jeff.
Oh, Russ, you're talking about off of New Street, aren't you? Picasso's place?
Whatever these are further, if you were to go south here, right, there's Department of Public Works.
There's
coming
Public
further
Works right
south.
now. Yeah.
That's Department of Public Works, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So as you go, keep going. Can you keep going south there?
Sure.
I'm thinking more further down. More down in these.
Same side?
Yeah, same side. You're right down in there. It just seems like, there's a fair amount of activity there. I don't know.
Well, I think that was Berlinski's property that Kenny Picasso bought from him and cleared it out.
That's why, is that what you're talking about? Or,
Yeah, I think
'cause
so. I
for
just see a
Castos
lot
I've
of
been to, and
activity there, and the wetlands go right up to it on the,
yeah,
the whole.
maybe call me and let me, we can do this together.
Okay.
So that we're not, I'm not pulling up Jeff's property, asking you if that's what you're talking about. I know you're not.
Oh,
I'm just
all right.
teasing.
I didn't even think about that for a second.
Yeah, just so that, we're not using names and you can
Sure.
steer me.
Hey Pam, do you know if there's any update on the search for the enforcement officer?
No.
No.
I'll, I'm not promising anything because I think I've already failed on a promise. I thought we'd have someone. So, I can tell you that it was again discussed as recently as yesterday, where the job description was again reviewed and tweaked, but I don't believe it's been advertised.
I think we may be getting a little bit closer in that, based on what Pam had indicated to me earlier this week, that we have a new town manager. I think it's been, I think it's more official than unofficial at this point. The gentleman hasn't started the job yet, but, hopefully,
I think it's gonna definitely be something that the
High
current
on
town
the
manager
agenda.
handles prior. I don't think it's gonna be left to this new town manager. I think it's gonna be.
Oh, good. Oh, so we can
but
have an answer
again,
within the next
I've
month.
said that before, so, but I would think he's scheduled to begin, I want to say April 19th, and, or about that, the Monday after April 15th.
Okay.
So I would think should be hired in place before then.
Okay.
Is anybody going to attend the March 6th virtual seminar?
Yes, I am.
That's a good one.
I'm gonna
I
sign
am
up
too.
for it. I want to.
Everyone?
Yep.
Do you want to, Russ? I didn't.
Yeah, no, I do. I just, I haven't.
You
signed
didn't
up.
get back to me. I mean, the town will cover the cost and I can register you. It was registration by the 16th guaranteed you printed materials.
Right.
The print, the materials, if you've ever been, it's a couple inches thick and it's.
But I already missed that day.
But they might have them. I mean, how much,
Okay.
everything is virtual. So if you're interested, let me know.
No, I would definitely want it. If you
And
can sign
then
me up.
I'll enroll you tomorrow.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that. I just got.
That's all right. Anyone else?
One more thing.
It's the 17th?
March the
6th.
6th,
The
March
6th.
6th.
March
The
6th.
I'm
Saturday.
in.
I don't know if I can. I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay.
Go ahead, Kurt.
One more thing. Before we started the Zoom meeting, Rick used to have his paragraph after we approved the application saying, do not start nothing until you hear from Pam. Wait till you receive a certified letter, and we never do that from her. Remember that?
They get a certified letter with 12 conditions, and it says that.
But Rick used to say, do not start nothing until you get the certified letter and make sure you dot the class, blah, 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 blah. I noticed that ever since we did the Zoom meeting, we never say that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Like, because you used to end every approval with, okay, you'll be getting a letter from Pam. Don't.
All right. Thank you.
I let that criticize because my concern is if you let them know not to start nothing until you get the letter,
Yeah.
then.
Because that
No,
happened with an approval from last month where I got the bond. I'm like, let me know so I can see the erosion controls. And his reply, oh, it's already done.
It's a point well taken, Russ. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, it's Kurt.
Kurt, thank you.
I just never said this all.
No,
But we need to make sure that happens as we were doing it before.
Yeah, so just saying it in a meeting.
Yep.
Right.
It was a habit that he had.
Gotcha.
Okay, I think we had a good meeting. I thank everyone for active participation and look forward to next month's meeting.
Nice and short.
There you go. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.